Well, how are we doing? I believe it's Tuesday. I could be wrong. It could be Wednesday. Hell, I don't know. I've lost track of days a week ago. Um, oh, man, what the hell? Probably another spam call. Yep. Stupid spammers. I get calls like that all the time. I get more spam calls than anything. I did call my doctor. Well, one of my main primary doctor. They reached out a few days ago and wanted to talk to me about some stuff, and I figured it might be her calling me back, but it wasn't. I do believe, besides the butt nuggets and fruit farm, I am going to start a secondary channel. I shouldn't say secondary, it'll be a third channel, because I have a main channel that I don't use anymore whatsoever. I started the butt nuggets and fruit farm / wildcrafting because before I started having a lot of medical problems, we go out in the woods picking mushrooms and digging roots and stuff like that, and a few other things that dealt with nature. But now I have neuropathy in both my feet and both my legs, and I'm starting to get nerve damage in my hands, and so the days of me tromping through the woods is basically over with. I mean, if it's a small flat surface and I don't have to walk very far, I'll be good. But as far as the long excursions, going through the woods and all the crazy stuff we used to do years ago, it's no longer feasible for me. I have RA, and if you don't know what RA is, it's rheumatoid arthritis. It's where basically the arthritis spreads through your whole body. And I have that going up my back somewhat, and it's really difficult for me to get around. Certain days I can get around pretty well, and other days I can't get around at all. And it's aggravating, you know. So I basically have taken the complete year off from the market, and that's what I've done this year. I had no intention of doing the farmer's market, and so to counterbalance me not going to the farmer's market is why I have started a lot of the e-scrap stuff. And the reason for that is, well, let me put my screwdriver down here for a second and I'll show you. Now, this originally was an old early 2000 model computer. Of course, this would have had like the disk drive here with the hard drive here. I've taken all that out. The only thing left in here right now is a power supply and the motherboard. I've stripped everything else out, but power supply, if I can get this over, hold on a second. I gotta grip this differently. Power supply is right here, motherboard's right here, CPU is about where that little white square in the centerpiece is. I've taken everything out. I've gutted everything. There are still a few little pieces on the front piece I gotta pop out, but this motherboard, you know, once I unscrew this is gonna slide out, and then I'll have to unscrew the power supply out of here and tear the power supply apart to get all the component pieces out of it. and do the same thing with the motherboard. Strip everything off of this that's basically worthless, and keep all the goodies, the process, all the goodie stuff later on. Now, this is what I've been working with, and I know, in January, I was sitting in the old greenhouse thing before the winter snow and ice collapsed the greenhouse frame, because the frame wasn't very good to begin with. I fell victim prey to the greenhouse thing, because I was assuming that the framing part was a lot better quality than what it was, and it was the cheap Chinese piping pole. Yeah, it was a lot thicker than some of the other stuff I've seen, but it was still crap. It really was. In order to have an effective greenhouse kind of like that, you would literally have to take fence posts long enough to put them on a pipe bender to arc them and set them, and then put all the doodads and everything else on. But, there's only a few people I know that have all that type of equipment kind of stuff, and they really don't want to take the time. Even if I was to pay them, they don't want to take the time to do it, and so I don't have a greenhouse no more. And basically, out of all that stuff that you've seen in that video in January, all that stuff's been hauled off the scrapyard, because I've taken all the component pieces out of everything. All the copper wire I took out, even some of the insulated copper wire that was in the stuff. I didn't strip out everything. I threw a lot of it in a great big ass trash can, took it to the scrapyard, and I got paid for it. I didn't make what I would got if I'd taken my time and run it through the stripper and everything else and got the wiring out. I could have made more money off of it. But some of the wiring was so small it wasn't even worth even burning, truthfully. And I just threw it in the trash can, took it as insulated copper wire. And the bigger stuff I stripped. And I still have a bunch more to strip. I just haven't done it because I have just received either 12 or 14 of these computers. I got a stack of them right here beside me. I wish I could take it off and show you. They're all gutted. The only thing I got to do is get the power supply and the boards out, and then there's like there's like two pieces on the front of it that contain little silver contacts. I'm taking those apart just for the silver contacts. But other than that, after I take out the motherboard and the hard drive, this big old casing here is nothing but a giant metal casing. And once all this is stripped apart, then once my trailer is unloaded, because it's loaded now, I got to take it to scrapyard and get it hauled off and dumped out and emptied, so that way I can load up all this stuff here, all the covers to these, and I already have a small amount of stuff that's going to be loaded onto the trailer for the next go around. And yeah, I'm constantly getting stuff like this, and I'm processing it. Now, I'm going to try to leave this cap on without I might as well just take it off. It'd be easier. No, I'm going to leave it on. If I can do this without making a mess. All of that nice, beautiful color right there, that amber color, that is gold in solution. And yeah, so this here is roughly 600 milliliters of gold in solution. Now, I gotta grab me a couple of, I gotta grab me some sulfamic acid to stick in there to neutralize the solution. And once I do that, I gotta get me some more citric acid, which is vitamin C citric acid. Mix it together, drop it inside there, and it'll drop the gold. And of course, I mean, there's not a whole lot in there right now. And what I'm gonna do is keep that container off to the side, and whenever I get a lot of these other pieces on here, like component pieces that have gold plating on it and everything else, and once I get that done, I will basically add that mixture to this other stuff and kind of go with it. I have a container. It's up there on the top shelf. It's on this in front of me, and I don't play getting up and getting it, but it's a great big container, and it has like fractional amounts of like little things, traces of gold powder on it and stuff like that, because I save it on the filter, so that way when that container gets like cram packed full, I'm going to take all those containers and stick it in a great big container like this, which is a 3,000 milliliter, and I'm going to put all the papers inside that, add my aqua regia, which is hydrochloric acid, nitric acid, and a little bit of sulfuric acid to eat any precipitants of lead that might be in there mixed with it, because evidently there's lead in a lot of your gold jewelry and other things that contain gold. So I'm going to put all that in solution, filter all that crap out. Once it's filtered out, I'll add that, like drop everything at one time, and hopefully get a decent sized gold button or small bar, one of the two. But I'm thinking about making a third channel that deals with nothing but e-scrap, and not just e-scrap, but you know, taking like silver jewelry, like sterling silver jewelry like this, and putting in an acid solution and dropping the silver out, because I gotta put this container down. This thing here, I'm not sure how well you'll see it, but let me get my fingers out of the way, you might be able to see it. There's a layer down across the bottom. I can see it, it's down across here. Silver chloride, because when I was mixing this in a separator kind of container, I had screwed up, and I had one container that contained majority of nitric acid, and one small little container I had hydrochloric in it, and I wasn't paying attention, and I put it through the filter, and all the other stuff became silver chloride. So I watched a thing not too long ago how to take the silver chloride and mix it with a couple other things, and it'll bring it, instead of doing the sugar lye method, it'll be I know it deals with ammonia and there's something else, but it'll drop it to a sponge form, and you don't have to deal with the silver, but the lye and the sugar method. You skip all that process. It's a little bit longer, but it's a lot easier, and it's not as critical, I guess you would call it, to get the silver versus doing the other two steps. So, with that being said, that is what I've been doing. I've retrieved over 2.5 pounds of silver cement so far. I haven't poured any of that into a bar. I don't know if I want to make a great big bar or just make a bunch of medium-sized ones and be done with it. But if I make a great big bar, I'm going to have to buy a larger smelter, because my smelter is only a 2 kilo smelter, and I need probably a 3 to 5 kilo smelter, and that's like $300 to $400 to $500 extra than what I have on hand. And I'm right now in the process of saving for Christmas and property taxes, so I'm trying to find alternate ways to fund that without having to dip in what I'm prior saving for. And I'm on my back porch. I have a roof on. It's not put on properly. I need a gapping, not a gapping, I have a gap in the roof that goes against the house. I need to get this, it's a sleeve that falls down in between, there's a name for it, but it goes in, the sleeve goes in and it connects like a flat trowel area, which covers up the gap. And it, you know, I'm not a roofer, I'm not a contract person, I'm kind of explaining something that I really don't know nothing about, so I'll just leave that alone. But once that piece is fixed, then I won't get no more rain that comes down between the house and the roof, and I can start framing in this thing and to make my mud room. And once that's, because there's a lot more process I'm gonna have to do, but for the most part I got a roof over my head and I can't complain. So, but with all this being said and done, this is why y'all have not seen me in a while, because I've been busy with a lot of stuff out here. And my oldest kid went back to Florida. My youngest kid, he kind of helps me with some stuff, like big bulky things that I can't lift anymore. But for the most part, I'm just out here and I'm taking up component pieces, and whatever's dirty brass goes in a dirty brass bucket, whatever's brass goes in a brass bucket, whatever's aluminum goes in the aluminum pile, you know, and I just separate the contents, and whenever the containers get full enough to where I think, you know, I can haul it in to make a few extra bucks off of it, that's what I do. My yard kind of looks like Sanford & Son. If you don't know what Sanford & Son is, it's an old sitcom from the 70s. And I can remember watching a lot of videos over the winter time, and I would see guys that would do this kind of stuff, and I'm thinking, man, why is there so much crap piled up? And it's kind of like, once you think that you have enough, it's almost like hoarding. Once you think you have enough, you realize you don't have enough, and you got to get more. You got to get more. You got to get more, because the more you have, and after you tear everything apart, the amount of, say, even like gold plating stuff in this, it is so minute. You need massive amounts of it to make it worth your while. And after experiencing it, I've understand why a lot of these people have videos where there's piles and piles and piles of stuff piled up, and I'm like, you know, instead of making a video showing and you're getting like this little bitty button, tiny like bead button of a speck of gold, why don't you process all this stuff? You know, tear it down to, you know, get your contents, like here's a pile of gold plating, here's a pile of crystal oscillators, here's a pile of, you know, BGA chips, here's a pile of RAM chips, here's a pile of this, here's a pile of that. You know, just do it that way. But I understand the concept is a lot of these people that make the videos of this, they are making it because evidently you have to put out like so many videos constantly, and if you don't, you lose the attraction of people. And I've kind of been lacking on that, really. I really have. And but with some of the problems that I deal with, I can't make a video of stuff like that all the time. And let's see, today's what, the 4th? So in 6 days, I go to see my heart doctor to see if I have a heart murmur, or if I have a valve blocking in one of my artery things, because I might have to have heart surgery. I just had eye surgery not even 3 weeks ago. Actually, I had my second eye surgery not even 3 weeks ago. Then before 3 weeks ago, it was like 2 weeks before that, I had eye surgery. So I'm done with eye surgeries as of right now. I don't have any wood to knock on, close hand. But I go back sometime this month. I think it's the 18th. I go back for like a checkup to see if the surgery's done well and everything else and blah blah blah. And then I gotta wait 3 to 6 months and go back again for like a follow-up to make sure the correction disc and everything's done like it's supposed to. But like I said too, on the 10th I go to the heart doctor. They're gonna scan me, probably put me on a nuclear stress test and a few other things, and so then it's going to be, it's either going to be you look healthy, we can't find nothing, if you have any problems, go to the emergency room, or it's going to be in X amount of time, we're going to schedule you for surgery and blah blah blah. So yeah, so there's going to be another issue coming up with me making videos and everything else. And the reason I have to go to the heart doctor is because sometimes when I'm even walking through the house, I get short-winded, and it's like I can't breathe, and I have pressure, like somebody standing on me trying to get air in, and they might just put me on like one of those little machine things. They have like the nostril pieces, like the air machines, or put me on oxygen. I don't know. I really don't know. I couldn't tell you. I'm not a doctor by any means. I just know I know people that have had the same issues, and I know what they basically are on doing from the course of the same type of thing that bothers me. And you just don't know. So, but I want to make a third video because the butt nuggets and fruit farm and wild crafting, not saying that basically it's over for that channel, but to be doing videos of doing like computer e-scrap and processing e-scrap and everything else, that really doesn't coincide with how that page is built for. And I do know in the past as well, with me sitting and talking like I'm doing now, it really doesn't do anything for the channel either. Now, I have gone to the farm and everything else when the farm was available, because of course the farm got sold out from underneath me to another family member that was supposed to have been the overseer before I got control of it, which I got screwed out of that. And like I said in the past few minutes, that basically my days of being Mr. Billy Goat tromping through the woods, that's over with. Because I think it was February. No, I got my months mixed up. It was September of last year. I was down the road on this really steep hillside, and my legs gave out and I couldn't move, and I tried crawling, and I really couldn't crawl that much, And a buddy of mine had to call 911, and I had 4 different fire departments and 2 squads show up when the squad is EMS. And they came down the hillside. One guy damn near took a tumble all the way down the bottom of the hill, because the hill, I'm telling you, man, this hillside was like this. I mean, it was like almost like straight down. And if you weren't careful, I mean really careful, you would have went. If there wouldn't have been a tree for him to grab a hold of when he started to stumble, he would have went all the way down the hill. I mean, to the bottom of the hill. And from the top of the roadway, and say this is the creek where my other hand is down here shaking. It was probably a 200 to 300 foot angle drop like this. And yeah, it was steep, real steep. And we were ginsenging. And well, we were partially ginsenging, because the guy I was with was like, man, I know this spot, man, it's loaded with ginseng, it's all over the place, you can't shake a stick without hitting ginseng. And I knew doing this that I was not physically capable of doing it, but the problem of it is when you have a hillside with that much ginseng, there's going to be some big ass roots, and that's money. And we get down there, and there wasn't a damn single plant nowhere. And except for when you cross the creek, this creek was dried up, but from this side of the creek bank to this side of the creek bank was about 30 foot width, and you would have to climb down this bank of the creek bed, which went down about 10 to 15 feet, walked across the creek, and climbed up this other side of the creek bank that was shaped kind of like this, and went up another 10 or 15 feet to go across a barbed wire fence onto somebody's private property and to dig ginseng, which I wasn't going to do. He was all for it. I'm like, dude, I'm not getting shot at for digging ginseng illegally on somebody else's property. This side over here is like county state property. It's no big deal. I'll dig on this all day long. But when there's a barbed wire fence and there's a sign that says posted no trespassing, I'm not crossing that fence. I don't care how brave I am. So then we decided to leave, and I got about a quarter of the way up the hillside, and I couldn't make it. My legs gave out. And I couldn't crawl, and I had problems getting up the hill, so he called 911 like I said. Squad 1 showed up, and they came down the hillside, and or Squad 2, I don't remember which squad it was, but it was one of the two. But they came down the hillside, they connected me to things, my vitals were good, but I still couldn't move, and so they put me in a gurney board, kind of like what you see for mountain rescue, those big old contraptions they put the person in, strap them down. And I don't know how many fire departments were pulling my ass up the hillside, but when they were pulling me up, there was a great big ass rock, and I hit that damn thing back in my head, inside that thing, and it hurt like hell. And of course, I even told them when they were pulling me up, you drilled me in this great big ass rock, and they were kind of like, well, you're up here on top of the hill now, so it don't matter. So when they unstrapped me out of that gurney board, I was starting to stand up, my knees buckled, and I started to go to the ground, and 3 of them had to grab me, because if they didn't, I would have been kissing the asphalt. But yeah, so after that day right there, that pretty much told me my days of going out into the woods to dig root is no longer feasible. Now, once I go to the heart doctor and they can't find nothing wrong with me or something like that, and as of right now, I'm working on trying to get me like a mobility kind of scooter. And if I can find one that, or if I can get one that basically will allow me to travel on trails or whatever, uh, you better bet your sweet ass you're going to see me out in the woods on a mobility scooter in certain areas, scooting along trails on a mobility scooter. I'll do it. I will definitely do it. And if I have to special order like ATV tires for this thing, by God, I'll do it. Because sitting around the house all the time, yeah, it really sucks. It really does. But what can you do? Other than what I'm doing right here. I'm taking apart computer pieces. You know, I can load up certain things and on the trailer, but anything that's really heavy, I get my youngest to do it for me because I just can't do it. So, this is the boat I'm in. This is the cards that I'm dealt, and this is what I'm doing. This is the hand that I'm playing, and I'm trying to make the best of it. And you know, I don't know how well the third channel is going to do. I do know that I can explain a few things to some newcomers, maybe a little more so in depth than watching, 50 videos to figure out a concept. Because a lot of the videos for doing E-scrap, they show the item, they don't explain the item. And I think that is what I'm going to do for my channel. You won't see me process. You might see me processing something, but it's going to be more so me explaining what you're going to find in this particular item, or what's the best way to get, when you get this item, how to make it more worth your while, blah blah blah, things like that. Or if you don't want to process it, get a pile of this, take good pictures of it, put it on eBay, and sell it for what you can. There's going to be all kinds of things I'm going to talk about on there. Because I love talking. I love talking. I love having conversations with people. I really don't like talking about religion because people get offended. Some people don't care. They really don't care. And some people get offended really bad. Not where, they want to cuss and holler and scream and everything else. Politics. I care about politics, because what takes place from politics. But my life isn't about Trump. It isn't about Obama. It's not about Biden. It's not about Bush. It's not about Reagan. It's not about Nixon. Not about Kennedy. It's not about Ford. Not about Jimmy Carter. I don't care. They're gonna do what they're gonna do, and we the peons are gonna suffer from it. So it doesn't matter individual wise. I don't care about them. I just care about what they do and how it affects me. Not just me alone, but say like everybody. So, but I'm not going to talk about politics. I've been saying this, I could not tell you how long. I want interaction. I want people to leave comments. I want people to ask certain things. I want people, besides just watching the video and being like, okay, I watched it. And I've asked before, if you like it, give me a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give me a thumbs down. I just want communication, like a two-way. Me sitting here talking the whole time, any jackass can do that. some of the stuff I have posted in the past, some of it is beneficial. Some of it is great knowing. If you have like the certain weed things, when I've walked around the yard before, talking about this, talking about that. Um, my grandmother, before she died, years before she died, she taught me how to identify trees, not by the leaves, but just even by the bark. To know what tree can, give you certain things back other than fruit, say like if you needed to pull the bark off the tree to dry it, to grind it to a powder, like the slippery elm or the birch or the willow, things like that for medicinal purposes. Um, which trees to tap for the sap, which ones are better for it, which ones aren't the best for it. Then she taught me about the plants. You can, you know, you might lose a lot of weight just by eating the weeds, but this, and this is really good for you. This is just a filler, tastes like crap, and this one here, this is good for medicine. That's about all it's good for. And she taught me all that kind of stuff. Am I an expert on it? No, but I do know if something or came about, and there was nothing else available. I do know that now I could sustain for a period of time. Um, I'd be skinny as a rail. I wouldn't have all this excess blubber on me, but I could sustain myself for a period of time, you know. And I've made videos on stuff like that. I should have made more, but I didn't. Because I kind of listened to a couple other people, and they were like, well, you need to make at least 3 videos a week. You need to, do this. You need to do that. Blah, blah, blah. You just need interaction. You need to get your name out there. You need to do this. It doesn't care really about the content. You just need to get your name out there first and then do your content. And I kind of fell dumbass to that. And that's kind of like what I did. And now I know that basically content is more important than anything whatsoever. So, with that being said, I'm going to work on making a 3rd channel. My first channel is basically it's kind of like the overseer of the 2nd channel, and it's going to be the overseer of the 3rd channel. So, that's what I'm going to be doing. Now, I might try to make a video of me processing some of the stuff and talking about what I'm doing, what I'm using, stuff like that. But if I do, it's going to be something that's going to be simple as hell and not with a lot of technicalities added to it. I'm not going to hide out nothing. I'm going to explain everything that I do step by step. I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm going to put into it, and I'll tell you what the outcome's going to be, show you the outcome, and it might be 2 or 3 segment kind of things thrown together. I still do not know how to edit on I was about to say Facebook. I don't know how to edit on YouTube. One of the guys that I know that does all kinds of stuff like that told me months and months and months ago, I'll come by the house, I'll show you what you need to do, I'll explain it to you, I'll show you. Hasn't been by the house, hasn't showed me, hasn't told me. Tried to tell me over the phone one time, but I'm a hands-on person. If you show me hands-on, I'll know it. But if you tell me to read a book, read a manual, try to verbally tell me, it goes in one ear out the other. I am a hands-on person. I've always been a hands-on person. If you show me how to do it, that's all you got to do. Show me one time, I know what to do. Talking to me, yeah, it's pointless. It really is. But I just wanted to catch up, say, hey, I'm still alive, I'm still kicking as of right now. This is what's been going on, and I am going to get away from what I've been talking about. I am going to kind of overstep into an area that really I don't talk into because I don't want to cause a conflict of interest or confrontation, but with all the crap that's going on with Iran right now, I'm not for it. I don't know, move my camera around a little bit. I can move my foot. There we go. I'm not for it, and I'm not against it. I'm kind of like France during World War II. I'm kind of like put the white flag up, not to surrender, but just because it's like neutral. I'm not going to say pros or cons. You know, what my government does with Iran, that's my government, not me. Yes, since probably the late 60s, early 70s, it's been death to America. Death to America. And in some ways, and I'm not going to lie about this, in some ways I have had said, take a fleet of B-52s, carpet bomb the place, level it to the ground, start back up from scratch, and redo the whole thing. But in other ways, I'm kind of passive against it because for everybody that's not a brainwashed regime, whenever or whoever goes in there and levels the place, anybody that's left over is going to hate the person who went in and leveled everything. So you're kind of like, you're defeating the purpose. I don't have anything ill against anybody from any country. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what race you are. I don't care what religion you are. If you show me respect, I will show you respect. If you act like a prick to me, by God, I'm a bigger prick. But that's just how I am. You know, just because you come off the boat, I'm going to hate you because you're a foreigner. No. My family originated, well, part of my family, well, actually all my family originated, originally they were immigrants. But on my grandfather's side of the family, they were here since 1649. My grandmother's family came here in the early 1700s. My dad's side of the family, like my dad's grandfather, he came over in the late 1800s through Ellis Island because they were Sicilian. And then my great-grandmother, which was married to my great-grandfather that was Sicilian, she originated in the early 1900s from France. So I'm a family of immigrants myself. But we came in legally. And even the ones from the 1649s, before there was immigration and everything, you just showed up on the beach and here you are. Make the best of it. And that's what they did. But I don't have anything against anybody. Like I said, nationality, religion, color, it does not matter to me whatsoever. If you show me respect, I will show you the same respect back. And that is how it should be worldwide. But it's not. And for whatever reason, whether it be fighting over a piece of land or a flock of sheep, or, you know, you encroach 3 inches on my piece of property and you're you're this religion, I'm that religion, you know, there's wars fought all the time, mostly over religion issues. And from the time you're born until the time you die, you have a very short window of opportunities. And a lot of people even in that short window of opportunities, basically, some people are never happy with anything. They just want to rise conflicts, they want to cause problems, and it's like a bad apple. So you got a really bad apple, partially rotted, and you stick it in a box of great looking grade A apples, and you put that that rotten apple on the top of the box, put a lid on it, let it sit for like, I don't know, maybe a week. And most of those apples that are around that rotten apple are going to, that rotten apple is going to expand across them, and there's going to be deterioration, there's going to be mold, there's going to be this, there's going to be that on a group of apples. And the longer you let it sit there, the whole box is ruined. And that's how life is. And that's what people are like in some other countries, even in the U.S. You get a rotten apple, stick it amongst a bunch of good ones, and everything turns to shit. So, even with that, you can take those rotten apples and still use them for fertilizer. You can maybe salvage a few of them to where they're not completely ruined. But the longer you let it sit in that box, the worse it's going to get. So, and that is as far off topic as I'm going to get that deals with religion, politics, race, nationality, you name it. That's as far as it's going to go. I'm not going to dive any deeper. The only thing, before I get off here, the only thing that I've asked for months and months and months, in a couple of few years, is communication. Communication is key with anything. If you don't communicate, nothing will get fixed, nothing will be resolved, and nobody will know anything if you just sit around with your thumb in your ass. I ask for communication. I don't care if it's simple. I don't care if it's 6-page long paragraph. I don't care what it is. I want communication. I want activity. An activity, it's not so much as, you showing me. I just want communication. And if you choose to follow me. I don't mind. If you choose to give me a thumbs up, great, so be it, and thank you. If you don't like it, give me a thumbs down. I've told people for months and years, I am the most honest, dishonest person you'll ever meet in your life. And some people laugh when I say that. Some people understand it, but a lot of people just laugh. They think it's comical. But I'm dead serious. I am the most honest, dishonest person you'll ever meet in your life. And by religious views, I'm a sinner. I was a sinner from the time I died, from the time I was born until the time I die. I'm a sinner. So, but I do believe in the Almighty. And if you don't believe in my Almighty, whoever you believe in, great, so be it. I'm proud that you believe in something or someone or some universal spirit. I do not mind. I do not care. That is your personal belief. I'm not going to influence you. I'm not going to try to convert you. Just show kindness across the board. I don't care if your neighbor's a different religion, and say like if you're in, I don't want to say a specific country. Let's just say you're in the Middle Eastern area, because I know there's different factions, religious, and different things like that. One person of one religion that is against another religion, if you were to kind of walk in common middle ground and show just a little bit of kindness and greatness, it might kind of open a pathway, and there would be less feuding, less fighting, less killings. more tribal coming together to better the area of all than bloodshed. And that is all I'm going to say. I'm done with it. And I hope y'all have a great day. I hope to see y'all again soon on a new channel that I'm going to try to work on putting together. And once I get the name for it and everything, it's going to be a comical name. It really is. I kind of have something up here. I'm kind of running with, and I'm getting choky because I've been talking so much stuff at the drink. I got a yawn. So I will see y'all again soon, hopefully on a new platform. And y'all have a great day. I'm done. I gotta get back to taking these boards apart. So I'll catch y'all again soon.